Namaskaram, all of you. So, today is day 26 of the Save Soil movement. I wasn't in town last 4 days. I was in a children's camp in Bandipur. So, last 4 days, as I had updated you in in the day 21st video, that I would be away, and because of network issues over there, we won't be able to post. So, last 4 days, we had about 23 children along with us, spending time in nature and seeing how to be connected with all types of life forms around them. So this is something where it was like an hands-on experience for them, how to be in touch with nature, how to know about the different life forms and how to coexist with them. So we also had some safe sessions on soil, where they explored about how soil is a living entity and how they can do their bit to be in to revive this and to play a part in the Save Soil movement. So we'll be sharing a lot of updates from the camp which happened in the next few days. So that would I think some of you were also following our Insta stories where we were posting about the updates from the last 4 days in the camp. I hope you were able to see that. We were sharing some glimpses from the journey. So I just thought that I'll use this opportunity today to touch upon this point, because it's so important for us to be in touch with nature, because this is something which can allow us to experience firsthand that there is life around us which is also equally important, and it has a role to play in the world just like we have a role. Especially being in the city, many of us may tend to think that we are the most important species on the planet and all life should revolve around us. But this is not the way we should be approaching, especially since if you know how things work, even something like the insects, which you may be thinking they are like they're invading your space, and you may feel that this is something, how can the insects play any important role? But if the instincts go instinct but if the insects they become extinct, then in just a few months time the whole planet can come to an end. That is the kind of role which they play, and for a lot of us we don't even know that this is something what their contribution is and how they're making a difference in making this world happen. So same thing with the soil as well. For a lot of us, until we are exposed to nature and the elements, we may not be really aware about what's the importance of soil, that it's a living entity. So it's very important that all of us see if we can spend time in nature. If we can, especially if you have children at home, seeing if you can spend enough time to take them out in nature, maybe go for a trek, maybe to a mountain or a lake or a natural space where the air is fresh and they can see how to coexist, be in touch with all the elements. So it is very, very important to spend enough time in nature for the mental and physical development of children, and even for adults. If we can expose ourselves to nature whenever we wish to spend some time away from the city, instead of just going to some fancy resorts or some exotic locations, it is also good if we can plan some trips to nature, see if we can be in touch with all the elements. That will make us much more sensitive towards all life forms on this planet, including soil. So please see if you can make this happen, and if you can spend enough time in nature, you will see how all life forms on this planet, they are all interconnected. It's not that we are separate from each other. Each of us has a equally important role to play, whether it's the plants, whether it's the trees, whether it's the animals, insects, birds, worms, everything. They have a important role to play. If you know about the soil, how the how there's so much of life teeming even underneath the ground. So this you can only know if you have first hand, if at least you see how you can be in touch, or at least if you make an attempt to explore life which is beyond you. Similarly, I remember when I had just visited Andamans, And that was something, was a very touching experience for me, because I realized there's so much of life form underneath the ocean as well. So when you expose yourself to different elements, you may even explore aspects which you never, or even though you may be knowing about it, but it's just that the experience of being in touch with it makes the realization even more profound. So if all of us can spend enough time in nature, and if you have children, if you can even make this attempt to take them out in nature sufficiently, you will see this is one of the best steps which we can do to create a generation which can realize and which can work in such a way that they do not take steps which are against themselves in the long run. They take steps keeping in mind that all life forms should coexist on the planet, including the soil. So please share about this. If you spend enough time in nature, and if you take, if you take your, if you make an attempt to do this, if you made an attempt to do this, or if you've been doing this from a long time, and how's your experience. So if you can please share about this, it will be nice to hear from many of you. And wherever you get an opportunity, it could be programs, or it could be where you yourself can take them out to places like this, if you have children at home, or even if you visit on your own whenever you have free time, or if you want to just take a vacation, seeing if you can step out in the nature, go to these places where the nature is raw, it's untouched, not fancy resorts where there are a lot of comforts, but also seeing how you can spend time in raw nature where you can expose yourself to the elements. So please see if you can do this, and let's do our bit to see how we can make this happen, how we can save the soil. And hope you're also continuing to share on the social media platforms, whether it's tweeting or sharing on your WhatsApp status, etc. So please let's see if we can continue doing this. And I'll also wait to hear from all of you about your exposure to nature, and how you plan to do this even in the next few weeks which we have of the moment remaining. If you can do your bit by educating someone else as well about soil, about being in touch with nature, this will be something which will be a great step towards making this happen. So please share, and let's make this happen. Namaskaram.